Killing, bad words, blood, that's all fine. But no smoking. As long as there's no smoking. Welcome to Tairimo Boys podcast! I'm your host, Cody. With me in second chair is the man who wishes he was more powerful than a locomotive. It's Jeremy!
What's up, everybody?
With me in third chair is the man who knows that the best way to beat a mad scientist shooting a laser at him is to punch his way straight through it. It's Ryan.
How's it going?
Today we're going to be reviewing a more unique movie. With us watching The Flash just recently, I decided for us to watch a more...
Better movie?
A palate cleanser, if you will.
Those are both very good options. The movie, if you couldn't tell by the title of the video, is an animated movie. Came out around, I think, 2012. It's called Superman vs. the Elite. This movie, I always felt like it kind of went under the radar because there's really no one hyping it up. And when it did come out, I don't remember seeing anything with it. It's an animated movie that was inspired by... a Superman arc called What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way. As I just used the word, inspired is the key thing because it is not a shoot-by-shoot remake of that comic. For anyone unfamiliar with the source material, Superman has a rule of no killing. We talked about this a tiny bit in our Flash review, and that's why the whole General Zod neck snap is as serious as it is in Man of Steel. What this comic arc did was it basically introduced a new group of heroes that aren't scared to start killing. Jeremy, what were your first thoughts on the movie?
I liked the pacing of the movie. I liked the emotion. There's a lot to this movie in a short time. My first thoughts were, I think I'm going to really enjoy this movie. Just how they started pacing it.
I think the movie's paced well. Like I said, it's an hour and 15 minutes long, and it builds up. Like, you slowly see the elite going more and more serious. As soon as they're introduced, and one of the heroes they immediately kills a freaking dog. And just over time, it just slowly builds up where they start killing people, and they eventually duke it out with Superman. But the true question, Jeremy, was it Tairimo Boys certified fun?
Absolutely certified. And actually, I was going to mention this. Do you know who wrote this?
No, I don't.
Joe Kelly. Ryan, are you familiar with Joe Kelly?
Isn't that the Joker's alias?
That'd be a good one. Joe Kelly is the writer of the comic book that you mentioned here earlier, Cody. He also helped produce... He directed this movie, if I'm not mistaken, as well. He also... You remember X-Men Origins Wolverine? Or not Wolverine. Yeah, it's the first one, right?
Yep.
That's the one where they introduced Deadpool, if I'm not mistaken, with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
At the very end. Cody, you
Yep.
remember me bitching about that?
Yep, you bitch a lot.
Yeah, I bitched about that. But you remember me bitching about how that wasn't a good adaptation about Deadpool? Well, Joe Kelly is actually who wrote some of my favorite Deadpool comics. He's the one I have the omnibus from. That giant Bible I think I showed you once before.
Yeah.
Of everything Deadpool. So, as soon as I found out Joe Kelly actually wrote this, I was pretty excited to see this movie.
And Ryan, your first thoughts?
I really like the story. Like the action and the pacing of it, as everybody said. Wasn't too hot on the dog thing as a dog owner myself, as a dog lover myself.
It was a pit bull, Ryan.
As someone who has a dog, I don't care.
It stung a little bit.
Just a little bit. Other than that.
See, this movie makes you feel emotions. Not only just your emotion, because they slaughtered the poor dog, but you get to see Superman's emotions in this, it's a nice change of pace.
You're going to see Atomic Skull's emotions, and I'm going to talk about that later.
Foreshadow.
That's actually interesting that the same person that wrote it also directed this movie. Because, like I mentioned, at least I think I mentioned, the story in the comic is different from the story in this movie.
I imagine this is Joe Kelly bringing that comic to life. What he really wanted to say through the comic, he was able to say through the movie.
Yeah, I think, but before this episode, I was researching the comic itself, and like I think the direction he went with the movie really got his idea across. Because, like I've already said, the whole idea is Superman's no-kill philosophy is put to the test when you have other superheroes that are willing to cross the line. So just to give a summary of what happened, of the difference between the comic and the movie. In the comic, basically some aliens invade, and the elites, when they show up, they start killing the aliens, which of course leads to Superman fighting them. So the whole philosophy is just centered around aliens that we have no connection to. Meanwhile, whenever we get to this movie, you've got like a metaphor for Palestine versus Israel going on, and you've got like one of Superman's like main villains, Atomic Skull, is engaged in here. So it's quite a bit of difference when you're dealing with main villains and real life countries versus space aliens. So, Jeremy, who was your favorite character in this?
Are we allowed to say Superman, or do we have to pick somebody else?
You gotta pick someone else, and if you pick the someone else I'm thinking of, you're gonna have to pick a third person.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Hat. Did I win? Did I pick who you weren't thinking of?
You picked who I wasn't thinking of.
Okay, cool. Who were you thinking of? Wait, don't spoil it for me yet. Ryan has to pick.
Why was your favorite character, Jeremy?
Alcoholic magician. Barely knew what was going on half the time.
Like, I figured you were going to say Hat if you didn't say the other one. All right, Ryan, your favorite character?
Lois Lane.
All right, you both surprised me.
All right, let's hear it. Who did you think we were going to pick?
I thought everyone was going to say Manchester Black, since he got the most characterization, since he was kind of the leader of the elite.
He did, and he's the only one with a little bit of backstory. It was false anyway.
In all the comics, they go more into the other. I don't think the correct term is heroes on the elite. I'm gonna have to agree with Jeremy. The Hat's my favorite. He's just his magical powers are just so like unique compared to what everyone else is going on.
True that, and he had some of the best lines, especially when they fought Superman towards the end.
Before we go any further, I'll just give a quick summary of the movie for everyone. Everyone's mentioned that the plot is set to like a really good pace. It's an hour and 15 minutes long. There isn't really much to the plot. It's the new hero team shows up, and over the course of the movie, like I already mentioned, Superman's whole philosophy of don't kill the bad guys is just put to the test. Now, the elites, they're made up of, first I've got Manchester Black. He's the leader of the team. British guy, has the British flag tattooed on the entirety of the front of his chest.
Including nipples.
That's supposed to stun. Yeah. But he's got psychic powers. Next is Coldcast. He's kind of the brawler of the team. Probably the least developed of the team. He can absorb and release large amounts of energy. At one point in time, he states that the attack he used on Superman had the same power of 15 suns exploding. Next up is the Hat, like we already mentioned. Jeremy already mentioned. He's basically an Asian guy dressed in like kind of a sloppily in a suit and a fedora. And what he does is he can pull magic tricks out of his hat. It tends to either be ghosts, demons, or giant stone golems. And there's also a dragon too.
And do we mention he's an alcoholic?
Yeah, that's very important for his character. Last one, Menagerie. She's commonly referred to her by her first name, Pam. She kind of dresses kind of sluttily and
talks sluttily as well.
Constantly hitting on Superman throughout the movie, even though in this version of Superman he's hooked up with Lois Lane. She's basically got the powers of alien slugs.
Slug lady.
Now, I'm gonna do a little quiz here for you guys. Ryan, did you catch the censorship that was in this movie?
I did not.
Jeremy, did you catch the censorship that was in this movie?
I did not.
Okay. All right. So we're going to emergency mode, double jeopardy, since you guys did not catch the censorship. Ryan, is death okay in this movie?
Is what?
Death, killing people.
No. Not according to Superman.
Not according to Superman, but is it okay for the viewer at home?
Sure.
Jeremy, are words like bitch, bastard, and ass okay in this movie?
Sure.
Yep.
I mean, they can be.
Bad words are okay in this movie, so there's no censorship there. Ryan, is drinking in this movie?
No.
Yes, it is!
When?
The hat's an alcoholic!
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And he's drunk the entire movie.
He gets
He's
shit
obviously
faced.
not my favorite character.
That was his characterization. Jeremy, was there any smoking in this movie?
There indeed was.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
There was no smoking in this movie.
So you can have bad words, you can have killing, but you can have smoking.
Yeah, it's if you pay attention, it's obvious that the smoking got cut out. So one of the things in the comics is Manchester Black is always smoking. If you look closely, when Manchester is supposedly smoking in this,
The match.
yeah,
The
he's
match.
got a match. He's got like a match stuck in his mouth.
Interesting choice of censorship. We can talk about banging Superman all day long, but we can't have a cigarette in there or a cigar.
Killing, bad words, blood, that's all fine, but no smoking. As long as there's no smoking. So let's talk about our favorite scene in the movie.
Easy.
Jeremy, you just volunteered to go first.
When Superman goes ham at the end. That is my favorite part. I like a good movie that has to do with superheroes that compromise, or almost compromise their beliefs. Like, how far is that superhero willing to go to stop somebody? This for me was the scene.
Yeah, I'd probably put that as my second favorite scene in the movie, and it's exactly right. Like Superman is, so I'm gonna say this first. Like power levels in this movie are like all over the place. Sometimes like Superman can barely take a punch, and other times he's punching holes through mountains. Same thing with like all the characters in this movie. But,
Which, in theory, Superman is weak to magic. This is something we all know. In theory, if all four of them teamed up, if Coldcast hadn't done that supernova punch on his face, they would have beat Superman, right? How else would he power up?
I think he still had too many tricks up his sleeve. I think
You think so?
Yeah, I think he just used the cold cast explosion as a quick way to exit.
Maybe so, because he did have to conveniently say, how do you survive that? Hit him with the power of 25 suns.
15.
He's like, 15 or 25?
It was 15.
Damn it. I said 25. Okay. Well, still, that's a lot of suns. If so, Superman's powered by the sun. That's a lot of power for Supes.
So, just to explain the scene for the people at home, basically the final scene in the movie, when Superman and the Elite are finally going to fight to the death, even though Superman doesn't fight to the death, you shouldn't basically the Elite just pummeling him until they think they killed him, where there's only a scrap of his cape left, and they even point out, like, why is there always a scrap left? You're trying to kill these superheroes. Superman does this whole pretends to go all the way thing where he's systematically picking off each one of them, and to assume that he's killing them, but you don't see till like the end that he's not killing them.
Just damn near. I was also right before Superman showed up to start picking them off one by one. That was Hat's best line. He said something about he's like he needs to sober up or something. He's got a tight sphincter.
That was when Superman started. Like, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go all the way on you guys.
It's like, I got a tight sphincter.
Ryan, what was your favorite scene?
When Superman lobotomized someone.
So that's literally the exact same scenes. So just go a bit into it more. He gets Menagerie first. Hits her with a dart that basically makes all of her alien slugs leave her body, and then they're fighting on the moon, so in order to not cause collateral damage, and she ends up getting sucked away. Then the Hat is next.
That was the best one.
Yeah, where he goes up and it's like, hey, magic is strong against Superman. But Superman ends up sucking all the air out in the area and chokes him out until he disappears into the tornado surrounding him. Then cold cast of Manchester left. They get teleport to Metropolis, thinking, "Hey, if Superman's gone crazy, we can create a whole lot of collateral damage here and use the people as human shields, even though they're supposed to be the new heroes on the block." And basically, he uses super speed to knock Coldcast out. Then him, Manchester, and Superman are left fighting until Superman uses his heat vision to cut off the tumor in his head that's given him his psychic powers. So, fun fact for you guys. Everyone got their powers back after, so they just weren't nothing characters that rotted in jail for the rest of their lives.
I'd actually be interested to see the furtherment of this arc.
I think it was more like, hey, there were type of recurring things. I think Coldcast might have even joined the Justice League. I think you get off more if you just kill aliens than if you're killing like the leaders of Palestine and Israel, like they do in this. Let me give a brief overview of the of kind of the movie before I get into my scene. I should have went over the overview of the movie before.
Probably because we just went straight for the ending.
Yeah, we just went straight for the ending. We start the movie with the Elite. They're watching the news broadcasts, and you've got all these news reports like shit going on in the world, where the stand-ins for Israel and Palestine are going to war. Villains keep breaking out of Arkham Asylum or strikers here in the Superman city. People are just getting fed up with this because it's just like Arkham Asylum. Strikers appears to be a revolving door policy. Aside from the the in-universe Superman cartoon going on, the Elite show up right away when one of the countries releases a giant alien bug upon the other. They show up, end up helping Superman kill it, and they're introduced to the world. Atomic Skull, who's of course, like I said before, he's one of Superman's main villains, shows up. Every time he's fighting, he's killing people. He's like using his nuclear powers and just turning people into ash. So it sets up right away that, hey, Strikers has a revolving door policy, and these villains just keep getting out and killing people, and people are getting fed up with it. But Superman believes in the whole justice system, and he's not judge, jury, and executioner. So as the movie goes on, we see there's terrorist attacks where Superman just wants the terrorists to face justice, but the Elite just is ready to torture them. In fact, in one case, they do torture him. Then, at one point, Atomic Skull does break out of Strikers, and he's all supercharged, so he goes and starts destroying Metropolis. Superman and the Elite come in. The Elite have started getting a huge following because they've got floating cameras following them everywhere, and they're broadcasting to everyone in the world. And after they fight and beat Atomic Skull, the Elite end up executing him to the cheers of everyone in the crowd.
So what you're saying is Metropolis is okay with public execution?
Yep, because they're tired of the shit. Don't you think people in Gotham would be cheering on for Batman to kill the Joker?
Like the Joker again? For fuck's sake!
It's the 8th time this week. I left him in Arkham Asylum.
I just want to point out, in The Flash, Keaton's Batman kills the Joker, and Prime is no more.
And there we have it.
Penguin dies too.
Yep.
That's how he got rid of all the crime in Gotham. Just killing all his villains.
The day Batman snapped.
So, Superman starts getting the idea that maybe he's living in the past and no longer of any use because everyone wants these villains dead and they're cheering on the Elite who are killing the villains.
Insert emotion.
Yep. That's when the whole war between fake Palestine and fake Israel reach the peak. One of them sends fighter jets to missile the other one. Superman goes, huge scene with him blowing up all the planes in order to end the war. He's celebrating because the war's over. The Elite teleport in. He's like, "Oh no, we've already ended this. We've gone and killed the leaders of both of them. Everyone's free." So Superman gets enraged, punches Manchester, and basically declares war on the Elite in front of everyone on the globe that can see their transmission. If you live in the middle of the woods with no electricity, you're probably unaware of what's going on.
Good luck, Smallville.
Hey, Smallville was cheering for the elite, apparently.
They seem like the gun-toting American type.
But yeah, Superman ends up. They end up fighting at dawn on the moon and then Metropolis, and Superman goes berserk on them at one point, pretending to be evil and ready to kill. Picks them off one by one and teaches the whole world, hey, this whole killing thing is scary. Best thing to do is uphold truth, justice, and the American way. Even though he doesn't say that. They say it at one point in the movie, but it's not the lesson, but you get what I'm getting at. Enjoyable experience overall. Now, let me go into my favorite scene. My favorite scene is when the elite execute Atomic Skull.
It was a good scene.
So, going into it a bit more, they fight Atomic Skull. Eventually, Cold Cast ends up absorbing all of his overloaded energy and all his normal energy, and he's down on the ground, beaten. Out of nowhere, Manchester Black goes up to him. Give my regards to Satan for me. He's getting ready to blow his head off. And you can just tell from the emotion of Atomic Skull, it's like, whoa, 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 this isn't what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to get locked in prison and escape again.
I'll be out in a week.
But Superman stops him. It's like, yeah, we are not judge, jury, and executioner. And like, there's people like gathering around this, and everyone's cheering him on, like, kill him. There's like two characters that show in the movie. There's this one guy. There's a father and a son character. The father's like part of the UN, and he kind of earlier in the movie he's kind of playing devil's advocate with Superman. It's like, don't we need to be killing these villains? And Superman holds steady with no. These people need to be facing the justice system. And the guy's like a huge like Superman fanboy. During the fight with Atomic Skull, this guy is killed saving his son. So the son's like literally telling Manchester Black, like, yeah, he killed my dad, kill him. Manchester gives a whole speech to like, yeah, this is a new age. Like, people are tired of this shit. One of my favorite things is Superman I think this is the scene, but Superman tells him, like, you can't murder people and call yourself heroes. And Manchester Black's like, why not? The American government does it all the time. Atomic Skull's on his knees, and he finger guns him and just blows his like skull out.
Finger bangs his skull straight into pieces,
killing him. Basically shows the entire, with all the cameras on him, shows the entire world like, yeah, this is a new age we're living in. No, people don't need to die anymore. I think Manchester Black, at one point in time, there's a article that's quoting him and says, "Play nice or play dead."
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, Atomic Skull really fucked up in this universe, but there's really no repercussions outside of this movie for him.
Did he learn his lesson? Well, certainly not in this universe.
He probably regretted it, like right before he got his skull blown off.
You can see his sad skull face.
Like his body's like on the ground, and like something I loved is like Superman like takes off his cape and just throws it over his body, trying to hide it from everyone.
Respect. That's good old Soups. Although Soups does not show respect to Manchester Black at the end. He super bitch slaps him multiple times.
Multiple times. Had to teach him a lesson somehow.
Hey, excuse me, that's not even a bitch slap. He was pimp slapping. He was backhanding him. He just slapped the shit out of him. There was something I wanted to mention, but I can't remember the entire joke. It was when Lois Lane, I forgot where they were going. It was towards the middle of the movie. Lois Lane says something about her being, or she's not Martian Manhunter. And Soup says something about
there go all my fantasies.
Yeah, that one. I wanted to mention that because that caught me off guard. I was like, well, Soup's got to think for Martian Manhunter.
That was a joke, numbnuts.
I know, it was a good one, though. I just couldn't remember it.
They're not afraid of sexual jokes in this movie. They are. Not. Yeah, no smoking, though. No smoking.
But you can do everything else.
All right, so, Ryan, any closing thoughts? Final thoughts?
Nope.
What about you, Jeremy?
I would say, besides this being Tairimo Boys certified fun, it's amazing that an animated movie made in 2012 is better than 95% of the superhero shit we get to this day.
Yep, this is why I recommended us watch this, because the whole premise of the movie is them going over Superman's moral choices, and it's entertaining while we do it. While we
feel
go
like
over.
The whole movie is about morality, and I do love to see that type of shit. This is a great movie.
I highly recommend everyone find a copy, watch it, enjoy it, rather than watching The Flash.
I'm still recovering from The Flash.
Time heals all wounds. All right, Ryan, on a scale of Superman the Animated Series to Superman 4 The Quest for Peace, where would you rank this?
Justice League Unlimited.
So pretty high.
Yep.
All right, what about you, Jeremy?
Ryan nailed it.
It's not going to be as good as a classic, but still, it's a damn good movie. Way better than The Flash.
1,000 times better. Infinite timeline's better.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us for another Tairimo Boys podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, watch the movie, and come and be a Tairimo Boy with us. Stay tuned for more Tairimo Boys adventures, reviews, maybe some spicy stuff. I don't know.
Enjoy.